Here we go.
Red Gunn co-CEO of DC Studios James Gunn just launched a new DC movie universe with the release of Superman. And guess who managed to watch it? So, is the comeback real? Did James Gunn manage to revive DC Comics on the big screen? Is this the Superman comeback all DC fans have hoped for? No disrespect to Zack Snyder, but his DC universe was just not it. And I was so happy when they finally buried it. Remember when they teased the Superman v Black Adam fight during the post-credits of Black Adam, just to kill the entire thing a few months later? Hilarious. Talking about killing, James Gunn truly killed it with this movie. The comeback is real. Hell yeah. I love this movie so much. I've been waiting for a film like this since I first watched the Justice League Unlimited show. Don't get me wrong, there have been great DC live-action movies, but never one that captured the essence of a comic book cartoon world. The Dark Knight, for example, might have a great plot and all, but it does not really feel like I'm traveling to a rich comic book world. Hell, the movie makes it seem that the only crazy costume guys in this world are Scarecrow, Joker, Batman, and his 10 boys. To the contrary, the Superman movie makes you feel there's a world out there with a lot of wonder stories and characters. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you there are a lot of characters. From memory, I can recall 13 comic book characters, 9 of whom are super people, and with super people I refer to both supervillains and superheroes. 9 super people, that's the same amount as in the first Avengers and first Justice League movie, including post-credit scene. You guys do get how crazy that is. It's a character-packed movie and there are no bad casting choices in my opinion. When I saw the guy who played Beast 2.0 in the MCU movies as Lex Luthor, I was kind of worried, but that guy killed it and was maybe the best part of the movie. Great job, Mr. Aura. Furthermore, this is a very good looking movie and the CGI looked awesome, not rushed at all. Not like movie from another brand lately. Marvel. Marvel. The only not good looking part of this movie is Nathan Fillion's hair as Green Lantern. What the fuck is that? That's an ugly ass haircut if I ever saw one. Though it is comic book accurate, and in the movie he is portrayed as a douche with a bad taste, so it kind of makes sense. First, the actor publicly stated he insisted on the haircut. Anyways, let's get to the important question. How is this Superman? I think the even current Superman might be my favorite Superman yet. I don't say that lightly. Usually I prefer animated version of comic book characters cause a lot of comic book characters just don't translate that well into live action. For example, I like Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor very much, but my favorite version of Lex Luthor is still his version from the DCEU continuity. Before this movie, my favorite Superman was also from the DCEU, but the version James Gunn came up with just feels so right. His humanity comes through, which his previous incarnation lacked. Zack Snyder's version was straight up a god. Zack even loved Kryptonite in his continuity, which felt like an odd choice. On the other hand, James Gunn's Superman felt more down to earth and relatable. To me, for the first time, he felt like a fun character. FYI, I was never a big fan of Superman. Since early childhood, he felt boring to me. I never liked super strong invincible type characters because it's difficult to feel urgency. Or it creates a power scaling nightmare in the long run, like in Dragon Ball. But when I saw, spoiler warning by the way, about to talk about the plot, the big Superman falling down from the sky, I was losing it. But the best part is, Kryptonite wasn't even bald. Oh my gosh. I know it sounds fucked up celebrating Superman laying KO on the floor, but first, I'm more of a villain guy. Second, Superman being nerfed like that makes room for so many possible stories. Instead of feeling disbelief when presented with a scenario that Sup should easily be able to deal alone with, even I will be able to feel urgency with this guy, and I felt it through the entire screening. And Superman gets beaten down and hurt a lot in this movie. Alright, the movie. At the beginning, you get thrown right into the world. This is no origin type of movie. Straight done. Because we had too many of them in the last few years anyway. Plus, everybody and their mother knows this guy's backstory. And even if you don't, this movie gives you a pretty good picture of his origin at the end. Literally. At the beginning, this movie establishes Star Wars style with a few texts that super people, short metahumans, have existed in this world for 300 years. Superman has been active for 3, and right now we are witnessing his first defeat. A metahuman from the dictatorship type of country has attacked Metropolis in retaliation for Superman intervening in an armed conflict. A scenario orchestrated by Lex Luthor, which would be a spoiler would the movie not reveal that at the beginning. Together with a team of gamer-type people, Lex gives the metahuman who calls himself Hammer of Boravia, the dictator country Superman pissed off, fighting orders, puppeteering him like he's a fucking Mortal Kombat character. After healing in his Fortress of Solitude, Superman comes back to Metropolis to fight that Hammer of Boravia, just to lose again. Let's fucking go! The fight just ends because that Hammer guy flies away. That Hammer guy proceeds to fly to Borovia, goes through a portal, enters a pocket dimension just to go through another portal to enter Lex Luthor's tower, which was a few meters away from the fight, to meet up with Lex Luthor again as Ultraman. That's the stupid comic book type shit I live for. So, why did this all happen? Well, Lex wants to take out Superman indefinitely, and he has 2 reasons. Firstly, he doesn't want to have somebody in his way when doing all his evil entrepreneurship type of stuff, which includes the invasion of Yom Hampur by Boravia, with whose dictator he teamed up. They have a I give you free weapons if you give me half the territory you conquer type of deal. This Lex loves to make a profit at all cost. Secondly, Lex is a hater. Yes, you heard right. He has an entire monologue at the end of the movie talking about how he's jealous of Superman and how he does not like how an outsider gets all the world's attention. And it doesn't stop with Superman. The pocket dimension I just mentioned. He also uses it as an unescapable prison where he keeps his enemies, including at least one ex-girlfriend who wrote negative stuff about him on her blog after they break up. That guy does not like to get criticized. Either way, why did Lex orchestrate this fight right now? Well, this movie doesn't make you wait long, because it's fast-paced, action-packed, and almost never slows down. This kind of rush since the Dark Knight. Lex wanted to localize Superman's Fortress of Solitude, and that's why he made Ultraman as Hammer of Barovia lead him down. Third villain, name, checking online, the engineer, question mark? First time I ever heard about her. Never seen that character in anything, so that might be her debut. Well, she followed beating down Superman to the Arctic and managed to localize Superman's fortress. She can't enter it though, because it disappears back into the ground again, which doesn't matter because Lex only wanted to know where it was. He wants to get into the Fortress of Solitude to find the weakness of Superman or anything to use against him. Before that happens though, we get to see Superman's life as the reporter Clark Kent and how he deals with how the world sees him and treats him. He does it by mostly ignoring it, by writing about himself and by interviewing himself, delivering a lot of material to his employer, the Daily Planet. He is basically a better paid Peter Parker. Furthermore, we find out that he's already been dating Lois Lane for some time. Why? The two actors have great chemistry, by the way. Rose spontaneously interviews Clark Kent as Superman, who nobody knows is Clark Kent. Later it established that the glasses he uses hypnotize people, making them see another face than the one he actually has.
Hey, Clark.
Hey, Jimmy.
Did you, Who are you?
That doesn't matter. During that interview, we find out that there are people who criticize his intervention between Yahampur and Boravia because of international incidents and stuff, and that there's a lot of internet hate against him. Remember when I called Lex a hater? Well, later we find out that most of the internet hate was actually him. He trained monkeys to write on computers, stationed them in his pocket dimension with access to internet, and made them write a lot of hate comments against Superman. And I'm really not joking. Why didn't he just use chatbots? Because comic books. I love how unnecessary elaborate he tried to ruin Superman's reputation, which we find out later was totally overkill. Two things happen now in the movie. Lex, together with his two handlangers, Ultraman and the Engineer, who I will call from now on Nanobot Lady because their supervillain name is fucking lame, go to the Superman Fortress of Solitude. He has a body full of nanobots and is basically a Latina fusion of Metamorpho and Cyborg. The Fortress of Solitude appears in front of them and lets them enter no problem because Lex is just him. Superman's guardian robots, yeah, his Fortress of Solitude has guardian robots, were surprised he could even enter. Together with Krypto the dog, try to fight the intruders. Nanobot Lady and Ultraman take them out pretty easily. Oh my god, right, I haven't mentioned the dog yet.
So Krypto is Ozu. He's just turned white. We actually 3D captured Ozu and then turned him into Krypto.
He's present for a big part of the movie, and James Gunn went full comic book with this one by including him. You're so adorable. You might not like the movie if you don't think the same, because there's a lot of bad dog can't behave type of humor in this movie revolving around Krypto. But how couldn't you like him? Look at him. He's also kind of the MVP of this movie. He helps Clark out a lot. Continuing. Nanobot Lady then hacks the computer of this Fortress of Solitude to get some precious data that Lex is after. And precious data she found, including a final message from Superman's parents from Krypton right before they sent it to Earth. At the beginning of the movie, Superman played that recording while he was being treated by the Guardian robots, but only the first half because the other half got damaged during the trip to Earth. Nanobot Lady manages to repair the second part of the message, which will change Superman's life forever. Oh my gosh. While this happens, a fast-growing kaiju-type creature goes wild in Metropolis, which one of Lex's handlangers led free to distract Superman. It started small, the dog, but it exponentially grew to the size of a kaiju. Supes had problems fighting it, but during the fight gets help from Green Lantern, Hawker, and Mr. Terrific. They are supposed to be this world's Justice Society, I think. But Green Lantern calls the group the Justice Gang. Hawker and Mr. Traffic, another genius whose superpower is fear-based technology, don't like the name though, and it's not official. I like all the character portrayals, especially Guy Gardner Green Lantern. He's so hilarious. But I might be biased, because I grew up with Carson, the Rookie, and Nathan Fillion happens to play the main character in both shows. And only recommend, by the way. Together with Superman, they managed to beat the giant kaiju. Sadly, it's not all happy sunshine afterwards, because right after the video of Superman's parents that Lex and Co discovered gets published, the second part of the message says how Superman should take control of the planet and how he should gather women heroin style to pregnate them so they can birth a lot of Kryptonian children so the Krypton kind can get revived. What a twist! Yes, you had right. Superman's parents are even the James Gunn continuity based. Shitstorm breaks out and like 99% of people globally turn against him, between being afraid of him and hating him. He believed his parents sent him to do good. Now he knows. It was all a lie. Now the world thinks he's a threat, including the American government, which asked him to surrender himself, which he actually does. Wait, what? Which turns out to be a stupid decision. He does surrender partly because he wants to find Krypto, which he figured out got captured by Lex. Let's say Lex triggered Superman's inner John Wick. Soup thought for some reason surrendering would lead him to Krypto somehow, which it ends up doing, but I don't get why he would think that. Well, the Americans do what they do in real life too. Outsource their prisoners to a privatized prison, in this case one run by Lex. Superman gets transported to Lex's private prison in his pocket dimension using one of his portals. Wait, is that Metamorpho sitting in Superman's cell? I really had no idea he would be in this one. Why, I don't like to see trailers because I believe they spoil too much. I still saw a lot of advertising for the movie though, because currently it's fucking everywhere, and it's surprising to me I didn't see him in any. Is he even in the marketing? Yes, I just found him on one of James Gunn's Instagram posts. Back to the movie. Lex makes Metamorpho turn one of his arms into poor kryptonite. Reason why he is here is because they stated earlier in the movie that there's currently no piece of kryptonite on the planet. So Lex was forced to find a more creative solution. Metamorpho follows Lex's orders because he kidnapped his baby, which one of his henchmen is holding at gunpoint. Wait, what? Lex is really just an irredeemable evil character? Waste. The last part of this movie is about Superman escaping Lex's custody and stopping Lex on two fronts in Jahanpur, which gets invaded again by generic dictatorship country, and in Metropolis, where Lex creates with his portal technology a gap in space, destroying big parts of the city. Superman manages to escape with the help of Lois Lane and Mr. Terrific, who localizes him and opens one of Lex's portals, and Metamorpho, whom Superman manages to convince to turn off the kryptonite after Metamorpho saw Lex gun down a guy in front of them, because Superman did not give him the information he wanted. He was like, "That messed up." Later in Metropolis, Superman takes on Nanobot Lady and Ultraman while Mr. Terrific tries to close the gap in space. In Jahanpur, Green Lantern and Hawker defend the people against the military from Borabia. Nanobot Lady almost manages to kill Superman by filling his lungs with nanobots while Ultraman assists. The classic final JJK jumping. Love it. He fails though, and Ultraman needs to carry Lex's team alone afterwards. I said Ultraman many times in this review, but I've never explained who he actually is. If you've read the comics like Further Evil, can only recommend by the way, or have seen the animated movie Justice League Crisis on Earth, you know that Ultraman usually is an evil counterpart of Superman from Earth 3, a different reality. I don't wanna say who it is because it's actually a pretty nice reveal and I don't wanna ruin the surprise for anybody. Even in a spoilery review, I'm just gonna say, he ain't the Ultraman from the comics. Anyways, witnesses from Krypto who broke out of Lex Luthor's prison together with Superman, Metamorpho and his baby, he beats that Ultraman. Finally, together with Mr. Terrific, Soups faces Lex, and Mr. Terrific uses Lex's control model to fix the gap in space. With his teammates and Metamorpho, who joins the group at the end, take down the Borabia military, and Hawker even unalives the dictator. Damn! The day is saved. Yay! But wait, one more thing. While all of this happened, Lois Lane, after helping free Superman with the help of Jimmy Olsen, who was doing it with Lex Luthor's girlfriend, who sent him incriminating material in form of selfies. Yes, again, I'm not kidding. Writes and publishes an article about Lex revealing his evil activities, including his team-up with the dictator of Borabia, which ruins Lex Luthor's whole reputation. Not only that, he ends up going to jail because of it. I guess Lex Luthor just became a Lois Lane hater as well. Finally, this movie ends with Superman watching a recording of his Earth parents instead of recordings of his biological parents, showing how his foster parents made him who he truly is, and not his Kryptonian parents. Right, and I imagine it's pretty hard to watch that Krypton recording again after he found out what the second part said. And that's the movie. I mean, there's still 2 post-credit scenes, but they are nothing scenes. If there's one big complaint I have is those post-credit scenes. Don't waste your time sitting through the credits to watch them. In summary, the best movie of the year by far. Can't wait for what else will follow after this. This was a great start to a new cinematic universe, even though technically Creature Commander already initiated this discontinuity, but doesn't matter. Superman is as fun as a comic book movie should be and has the usual James Gunn movie style. If you love movies and haven't watched this movie yet, what are you doing? Go buy your ticket now, especially if you are a DC and James Gunn fan. Go, 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 go! I hope this movie does well at the box office, because I need more of this. Oof, finally finished. I might be late to the party with the Superman review, but better late than never. Plus, in my defense, I just decided to start off this last Wednesday, and I really thought you could learn how to edit YouTube videos in one night. Spoilers, I was wrong. Alright, I forgot to introduce myself. My bad. Hi, I'm Ecto, a human electronoid hybrid villain influencer from the Anno system. I'll be doing content about movies, TV shows, and Earth pop culture. See you around.